The Apple Watch, yeah, great piece of technology, one of Apple's most popular devices, let's say. It's their second highest selling wearable, right behind the AirPod. I've had the Series 4 for about a month. I have to say my experience was, it's pretty great. It simplified a lot of my life. It's really simple and easy to learn how to use. It's helped me with a lot of my fitness, keeping on top of certain things like homework, schooling. It's helped my grades. It's helped me kind of keep on top of a lot of the other notifications, like side stuff, like YouTube, for example. It actually does notify me a lot of the YouTube stuff that goes on here. Now, a little bit of a side note, I've been wearing regular watches, basic timepiece watches for a little more than a year now, and I've gone through 6 of those total, 6 watches total, including the Apple Watch, and currently I have 3, including the Apple Watch. I have this watch, I've got another watch, a green leather kind of watch. It's nice, and then I've got my Apple Watch, and I have to say the Apple Watch by far is the best, the nicest, let's say, of the 3, which is expected because it's a $500 piece of technology, and but a lot of the time for formal stuff, I probably should be wearing a traditional watch like this one, especially because most of my dress shirts and stuff, they're black and white, so it would match that. But I've actually ended up always choosing the Apple Watch, and that's partially because of the simplicity of it. Now, while we're on the topic of looks and such, a lot of people claim that circular traditional timepieces look a lot better, but in my opinion, the Apple Watch, it looks exceedingly great. It's almost it's like a piece of future technology. It's I am connected to my technology. I'm connected to my phone. I'm connected to my computer. I am connected to the world, and it's a great feeling. Now, at the same time, that feeling of being connected to your technology might not be what everybody is looking for. A lot of people might not like the idea. A lot of people, one of my teachers doesn't like the idea of smartphones. He doesn't like the idea of being constantly connected. And that's completely understandable, to not want to feel like you're constantly connected to social media and the internet, and just a lot of people like to keep to themselves and level out, if that makes sense. Personally, that's not how I am. I love technology, I'm a student of computer sciences. I'm learning how to program. I know how computers work. I know how to make a website, program a website, and it's all about preference, I guess. Now, I've been choosing my Apple Watch over my traditional watches for outfits and dress clothes and such, purely because of how convenient it is, if that makes sense. For example, let's say somebody texts me, a friend or something, during class. I can quickly just take the watch and I can respond, really quickly. It's, it's a lot more convenient than taking out my phone. I can track my activity during, gym or after school when I'm working out, set my homework assignment. That, by far, outweighs just, the traditional timepiece. Yeah, where I can just basically all I can do with this is check the time. With this, I can do a lot. Now, full disclaimer, if you have a Samsung phone or an Android or Windows phone, I don't know if the Apple Watch is really going to even function without an iPhone or a Mac, an iPad, etc. I don't think the watch itself is going to be able to work because you have to sync it to your phone. Now, that is where, the functionality comes in consistently, and it makes it, really convenient, is because you're constantly connected to your iPhone, to your Mac, to a lot of your stuff, to most of your devices. When you're like with your iPhone, or even with the Series 4, when you're away from your iPhone, notifications will actually pop up on your watch, and then you can check them, respond to them, like email and phone calls and, text messages, yeah? And, I mean, it just makes it a lot easier, especially when you're wearing, like, tight jeans, let's say. And, it's kind of, like, hard to get your phone out of your pocket. All you have to do with the Apple Watch is just kind of press a button, da-da-da, and then, or not even, you don't even have to talk to it when you're responding to a text message. You can write it out on the watch, and it's really convenient. It's a feature I've used it a lot, because it's great. The watch really allows you to stay on top of things, and this feature is especially useful if you are, now bear with me here, let's say you're working for a corporate company, and you're constantly being texted and emailed about work. This project's going on, you have to do this presentation. The watch, the Apple Watch, it really, really allows you to stay on top of things and respond efficiently and effectively. Now, my personal favorite use for my watch is, and one of the biggest uses for the watch is, for most people, is fitness. And I'm sure when you clicked on the video, you were probably expecting this to come into play. And, well, it did. So, I run a lot, and I work out fairly often. It tracks, like, how many miles you've ran, your distance, again, run the mile, how long you've been working out, the calories you've burned, your heart rate, etc. And it's almost encouraging in a way to kind of help you work harder. I like it a lot because it actually has encouraged me to work harder and work out more, run more, and this mainly comes into play in their ring system. The ring system, in my opinion, is great. It lets me track basically everything I do per day, from standing to calories burned and time that I exercised. And it helps with basically everything when it comes to fitness. Now, one of the cons, let's say, or major drawbacks of the Apple Watch is the lack of a web browser. And, I mean, if you really think about it, it does make sense why there isn't a web browser on the watch. And, I mean, that's because, watch is small, it's hard to type on here. However, personally, I feel like that's kind of an excuse, because you can respond to text messages, like, via, speech. However, when you're designing a website, there's something, how mobile devices are supported, the tiny screen size on your iPhone or your Samsung. The way that that's supported is via something called Bootstrap in the code, in HTML. You can't really, it doesn't get small enough to support something this small. Now, if they were to design websites for the watch, they would have to redo Bootstrap completely and be able to make it so that you can program the website size. However, again, there are third-party apps, let's say, web browsers that do actually allow you to browse the web in a way, like an app called Squint. It doesn't really work as well as I would want it to, but it's there and it's okay, kind of. Now, another disclaimer here, that is in the watch's current state, that is if your work is emailing you via iCloud. If iCloud is your primary email for your job and your work. Because as of right now, Gmail, Yahoo, and that kind of stuff, it's not supported. You'll get the notification and you can read the email on here, but there's no watch app for any of those email services. and there's no way for you to respond via your Apple Watch. Now, obviously the most useful feature of the Apple Watch, and kind of an obvious one, is the fact that it is indeed still a watch. The fact that you can still track the time, kind of look at the time, and it's really quick and easy, you know, just on your wrist, kind of flip it up and it works. It turns on and shows you the time. Now, the thing that makes this watch so much more feasible than this watch is how customizable it is. The watch, when you first get it, comes with a lot of different faces for the watch, if that makes sense. Like a watch face. Really, really customizable, along with the feature that you can, like, install more from the App Store and from the Watch app. Now, obviously, nothing is perfect, and the Apple Watch is no different. Now, the biggest con of the Apple Watch is definitely the price. Unless, you know, you're like a fitness person or constantly have to be on top of notifications, I don't know if the $4.99 price tag is worth it. Now, another con, or rather nitpick or personal preference, is the fact that the watch itself is square. Personally, I prefer circular watches. Gonna keep referencing to my watches, and I don't know, I feel like they just look a lot better than square watches. Now, the biggest problem of the watch, and I've already stated this earlier, and that's the lack of a web browser. Now, you know, earlier you might not have thought, that's not really a big deal, I'm not constantly browsing the web, but you know, Siri, yeah, the virtual assistant that every Apple product has. The lack of a web browser cuts Siri's functionality literally in half. When you ask it a question that you would have to look up the answer for, like what's the Bill Gates's net worth, it'll tell you, why don't we go to your iPhone and look this up, and ask it again on the iPhone. And I don't know. I personally expect future watches, or not really future watches, but like future OS updates, to kind of fix this, to kind of help with this feature, because one of the biggest like functions of the Apple Watch is Siri. Is the watch worth it? In my opinion, it definitely is. I love my watch. It's great. However, that might not be the same for you. It all depends upon the circumstances. If you're an active person that likes to track their fitness stuff, let's say, or if you're a busy person and don't always have the time to take out your phone, then yes, the watch is definitely for you. On the other hand, however, if you're the kind of person who doesn't do much and doesn't see them trying to change that anytime soon, or you don't get enough notifications to justify the simplicity that the watch offers, then no, the watch isn't for you, unfortunately. Thank you guys so much for sitting through this video. I know it's probably relatively difficult to sit through these videos because I'm kind of a boring person. There's probably a lot that's going to be cut out of this because I forget what I'm gonna say, and the fact that you were able to sit through this video, however long it might be, it's great, it's incredible, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you that make it to this part of the video. You're in an exclusive club, you're the real fans out there, and thank you. Thank you a lot. If you made it this far in the video, and, you know, if you liked my content, you can subscribe, comment, like the video if you liked it, or, I mean, even if you got this far and didn't like the video, you don't have to subscribe, you don't have to like it, dislike it. You know, it kind of gives me feedback, tells me, you know, that you didn't really like this style of content, and I should probably try something different, try something else, until it starts working right. That would, honestly, you know, comment why you disliked the video if you disliked it. You know, that'll help me with even more feedback, you know. It helps. It really does. And this outro has been going on for a while now. Every single one of you who've made it this far in the video, I want you to have a good day. and, you know, maybe watch some of my other stuff, critique it or like it, you know. Have a good day.